nightmares as what does this word mean, but a notion that things should be done as close to the ground as it's possible to do them, I suppose, is the key thing. So you don't need to take a decision. It's, in a sense, it's localism, which is a very loaded word at the moment now, but what I take as the positive side of that, why do I have to wait for central government to tell me if I want to do something in my community? The community level should be able to decide certain things, but it should know when to refer up. And so, you know, there's appropriate levels to do things at. But the other thing that I think this approach does that's really important for me is that it puts work at the centre of the approach. So there's a very clear link between what are being said in these texts and an explicit link to the ILO and the decent work agenda. So it's not good enough for people to have work, but that work should be decent. It should be work that's not unsafe. It should be work that's actually enriching people. Work should increase human dignity, not be something that's about just surviving in appalling conditions. It says that work is an integral part of being human, and so we need to see that. Work is something we do as humans, as long as we don't narrowly define it as paid work in the formal economy. But work is something we do, it's part of being human, so we need to have that perspective. And so, of course, that links off into UNESCO and the law and Ferry. It links back to Dewey. I think it links particularly to Christopher Winch, who I would see as the leading philosopher of vocational education and training internationally at the moment, who's focused on the moral purpose of vocational education, a process of becoming, often for young people, because that's where much of it takes place, but through adulthood as well. So an attempt, as I say here, and I'm only starting to sketch these things out, these are work in progress seminars, and this work feels like when I agreed the seminar, I thought the progress would have been greater, whereas it feels like I now have to do the work to progress on the ideas. So these are ideas of kind of, that partly, so the paper in a sense, half is kind of building on a paper I already have, and half is looking towards where I want to go with that writing, but I'm not there yet. And it's, in a sense, this kind of back end of the paper, and particularly getting to this end, that I would love to have some time to try and think more about. So that's where I'm trying to head towards. And so I'm just going to